Yousaf Iqbal. Well, we are sitting here actually in IQI headquarters here in Malaysia, and that is a unique experience to have you here with us. So for those who don't know, which I cannot imagine, but Yousaf Iqbal, our country head of IQI Canada, flew all the way here. I think he was on a 20-hour flight. You know, we had some stops in Pakistan and in Dubai, but finally you made it. Just want to say a huge welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Taco. Always excited, always ready for this trip. I've been doing it since 2016-17 for this trip on that. And I can tell you what, this time is more exciting because I'm seeing you. Oh. I'm seeing a lot of the global heads coming here on that. And I think this is the time when we all get together. You know, this is the only time I would say that when all the country has come in together on such a huge platform and we're able to talk to each other, discuss our ideas on this. So very excited to be here.
Fantastic, fantastic. And we have so much to talk about, but of course we have limited time, but for sure people will be able to reach out to you. We'll talk more about that later. Of course, being the country head for Canada, we want to speak a lot about Canada, but just for those who just want to have a little bit of a background story, who you are, how did you end up in Canada? Maybe you can just brief us a little bit.
Sure. My background is that I've been a banker and I was actually living in Dubai for quite a long time. And then in 2002, I went to US, did my master's from there. In 2006 or 7, it was 2007, I moved to Canada. I've been in real estate since 2010. And you know, I mean, I would say that Canada is an amazing place to raise your family, to raise your kids over there. At the same time, also very peaceful, very secured, you know. That sense of security in terms of your citizenship and your rights and everything is there in Canada. So that's a little bit journey about myself. So being a banker, being in real estate for last over 10 years now, that's how I started.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. We will go deeper into that a little bit more on your personal side, but I think for our listeners, you know, Canada, there has been a lot in the news over the years, right? Was a huge like investment hub for foreign buyers, right? Government came in, changed a lot of stuff, came back again a little bit. So I think we need to clarify some things for the listeners, right? Where are we at in Canada, right? So first, just on the market part, right? So where are we today? Is it still an oasis? Is it an overheated market? Let's start there. What can you say about the whole market in Canada?
Absolutely. To start with that, let me tell you one thing. Canada is a hub for the immigrants.
Yeah.
Every year we are getting close to about 500,000 people coming to Canada on that, right? When you have so much of an inflow of immigrants coming in Canada, one thing I can talk to you is directly related is the real estate part of it on that. Right now, even now, there's a housing shortage, a housing crisis. There is not enough houses for the number of people who are coming along right now on that, right? So when it comes to real estate part of it, when people think about in terms of the Canada that, oh, maybe it's overheated or anything like that, it's always the end consumer, apart from the investors, that drives the market on that. And what we are seeing right now in Canada for the last few years is that the immigrants are coming in. Keep in mind, there's also a lot of international students who are coming in there. Once an international student comes in there, obviously they need a place to rent it out. After they finish their education, they get their 3-year work permit. After 3-year work permit, they get their PR card, which is a permanent resident. And as soon as they get their PR card, the first thing they want to do is to invest in real estate, is to get their own house on that. Because in terms of the appreciation, historically, what we have seen previously, I would say before about 2013 or 14, you used to see when you used to buy a house, it would take about 10 years to double it up on that. Last few years, it's a matter of 3 to 4 years cycle. Wow. So something which you have invested for $1 million, in 4 years, okay, if it's not doubled up, okay, let's not go to 2 million, but at least seeing about 1.5 to 1.6 million.
That's impressive.
And the reason, Taco, is that because of the demand and supply on that. Yeah. People who are coming in, you know, they need a place to live. They need a place to stay there on that. So for the first year, people will come, rent out, you know, because they want to get settled in, look at their jobs and stuff like that. But a lot of immigrants who are coming in, they're also coming mentally prepared to come and start getting into their house. Because what they have seen over the years, the in terms of the assets which have grown up on that, is the best thing is to buy your own house instead of paying a mortgage for somebody else. Because if you're renting it out, that money is just paying off somebody else's mortgage. You might as well get into your own house and pay off that mortgage for yourself on that. So that's the first thing to start with the Canada by itself on that. The overall market in Canada for last few years, what I have seen with all my own clients, investors, all through my team, everything as well as that, is that I have not come across up till now where people have got any distress sales going on that. I haven't come across people saying that, oh, I lost money in this transaction. I lost money because I bought a house for example, $500,000 to $1 million, and now I'm selling it low on that. Nothing has happened like that. Market has slowed down a little bit because normal is the interest rate, inflation. There's so many other factors which was there on that. And I'll give you some interesting stats as well at the same time. And then we're looking at year-to-year sales every year. And then when we get our reports on it on that, every year there has been an increase in terms of the percentage, in terms of your sales, in terms of the value of the property as well at the same time. So if I talk about something, which somebody has bought, let's talk about from a pre-construction perspective on that, right? Somebody has invested about $100,000 into it on that, which they got about 3 years ago. Now, by the time they get again, I'm talking about historical data with the experience and everything on that, something they bought for $100,000 as a down payment on that. By the time they go to the maturity level and they are getting the possession of that property, their increase has already been there almost $80,000 on that, on top of the $100,000 on that, right? I'm being very conservative, by the way. Year to year, in terms of the appreciation, we have seen prices going up 20 to 25%, but being very conservative in today's market as well, you're looking at a good healthy growth of 10% on that.
Wow, impressive, huh? Impressive.
Yeah.
So you outperform many other markets in that way. When I talk, to all of our global partners and they ask questions about Canada, they say like, yeah, but at the moment there's like this foreign ban, right?
Yes.
There's this kind of a weird term, right? But I think it would be good to clarify that a little bit, right? Because I don't think it's like a fully foreign ban.
No.
So let's kind of highlight that for our listeners. What exactly is allowed, or at the moment maybe not allowed, but might change in the future in Canada?
So that's a very good question. And of course, people are always getting this mixed up by saying that the foreign buyer ban means that you cannot buy a property in Canada. Interestingly, when the foreign buyer ban was done, a report from RBC, which is the Royal Bank of Canada, said that total foreign buyers, and I'll define between foreign buyers and other people is that, was about 7% of the total buyers in Canada. That shows that a lot of consumption is happening locally by the people. Again, keep in mind, immigration makes a big difference on that. Now, when it comes to the foreign buyer ban, it is now been stopped up for somebody who has no ties. Okay, for example, if somebody is a non-resident, have no intention of coming to Canada, have no intention of being over there on that, those are the people who cannot buy the property. Now, the exceptions are that, for example, you come there, you're on a work permit, you can still buy the property on that.
So people with work permits can still
Exactly.
buy. Okay.
Now, there is a taxation for them on that, which is refundable as well. Okay, what we call as an NRST, which is called a non-resident sales tax on that. For example, somebody comes in, they're on a work permit, they can buy a property. As soon as they become a PR in the next 4 years, that money is refunded back to them, number one. That is in the case if they're going as a resale house on that. If somebody is getting into a pre-construction, which is going to be available after 4 years, there is no NRST which they're paying right now on that. That's only going to happen at the time of closing on that, right? So that's one thing. Second thing is that a lot of time people send their kids over there for education. Now, as students, they can buy properties as well at the same time. They could have, again, both the options. If they want to go with something for an immediate property, yes, they will pay up a closing tax right now, which is refundable in the next 3 to 4 years on that. Now, how it helps them as well, by the time they finish their education, they get in their immigration and stuff like that, they can get that going on. So this concept of when you're saying about foreign buyer ban, on that, now this is the residential part of it. Commercial, there is no foreign buyer ban on that.
So anybody can buy?
Anybody can buy any commercial property at any point in time on that, Interestingly, the commercial stats have been very, very, good in terms of the appreciation as well. Keep in mind, whenever you're investing into commercial, you have very focused people who are in commercial. For example, if you're getting into retail commercial on there, right? And the retail laws are interestingly very different as compared to the residential laws when it comes to a tenants part of it as well. If you have a commercial property and you don't pay the rent, on the 5th day, the landlord has a right to lock you out on that.
Interesting. Wow.
Which residential, obviously, for other reasons, don't have any more protection for the people who are living on that scenario. So, when it comes to the commercial investment, it's very much open right now on that. People who are looking again to immigrate or migrate over there on that, they can buy the property on that. If you're on a work permit, if you're on a student permit, everything's allowed. So the foreign buyer ban, and I'm going to repeat that again, it was just 5 to 7%, which is absolutely nothing on that, number one. Second thing is that as a foreign buyer or as somebody who's on a work permit, they are eligible for the mortgage as well on that. The amount of down payment would probably increase on that. For example, if somebody was to get, you could buy as, by the way, for people who are not foreign buyers, they can buy as low as 5%, 10% down payment as well on that. But if you are somebody who needs to establish your credit and your work history internationally, I have got deals doing about 40% to 50% on that. That means you put in a 50% down payment and the banks are willing to lend you for about 50% of it on that, which is again a huge thing for somebody who's looking to do that. But if you're a cash buyer, then absolutely no issues at all on that. So the foreign buyer ban, it's not there in the sense that, for the people who are still looking to invest either into commercial directly, who are looking to invest into, they got their kids coming up for education, they get into work permit. Now, what also happens is that for the students who come there, for example, for the 4-year degree program, which they've done it on that, okay? After the 4-year degree program, they automatically get qualified for about 3 years of work permit. So within their 3 years of work permit, they're able to get into a PR card on that. So options are there. They could get into a pre-construction or you guys call it, project sales? You can get into project sales. By the time that project is completed, you can do it. And I'll give you an example as well. So one of my very dear friends, his daughter is studying over there in Canada, in Toronto. And we did exactly the same thing for his daughter as well. So by the time she graduated, we went and bought her a property, okay? Now her PR card is coming up soon and the closing is going to be actually next year. Perfect timings. So by the time she gets it on, she was eligible to buy it, just to let you know, although she was on a student permit and on a work permit. Nothing stopped her not to buy it on that. It's just that additional tax which she's supposed to pay at the time of closing, if she is still a non-resident, that gets avoided right away on that. So she doesn't have to pay on that. So again, solution is there, and that's what our team expertise on that. That's our expertise on that. We always believe in advising people, because we are their financial and their advisors on that.
Fantastic. Nice. Wow, this definitely brings in a lot of clarity more, right? It looks like if you look at the kind of like, let's not call it the foreign ban anymore, but let's look at the whole condition structure, is that the Canada government was looking at, okay, nobody who is really contributing outside of the real estate, you either work, study, or be present there, then we allow you to just buy anything you want. But if you're like outside and you don't come in and you don't do anything, then real estate is not your area for Canada. But you could still look at the commercial side of things if you're looking at some good returns, right?
Exactly.
That's kind of the gist of the whole structure that they're offering right now.
Absolutely. So one more thing also to keep in mind is that just for the Canada real estate perspective by itself as well on that, again, in any country, when you have end consumers, right, that means you have more people who want to utilize a place.
Yeah.
For example, people, 500,000 people coming in. If 500,000 people are coming in every year, they need at least one place to rent. Again, I'm not talking about students. Students is on top of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting stats. I think last year was about 450,000 people, 460,000 people came in, and plus another 500,000 students which came in on that. You know.
Okay, those are big numbers.
So even in the universities, there is not enough, accommodation or more domes for the people for the students to be there on that.
Yeah.
So these students are actually end up getting into different housing societies over there on that, what we call as a student housing, and these are the people who's invested outside of the university for them to accommodate on that, number one. Second thing is that whenever they are getting immigration, whenever they're finishing up their thing on that, they are your target market on that. So I haven't come across whenever you have a property and you put up for rent and you say, oh my God, I can't find somebody for the rental purpose of my property. What do I do? Number one. Second thing is that very important is the resale part of it on that. Now, there's also a concept which I believe I've heard from different countries is that if you are a foreign buyer or you are on a work permit, something like that, can I still sell my property to the resident? Absolutely, you can. There is no restriction. It doesn't mean that, if I'm a non-resident, I can just give my property only to a non-resident, something like that on that. So if you have a property, you can sell it to anybody. It's an open market. It does not restrict you, number one. There is no quota system as such on that, right? That this is the percentage of sales, you could only do it to this specific, type of buyers and stuff like that on that. It's open. So you can also buy, you can also sell, you can invest in pre-construction, you can get into commercial, no quota system as such on that.
Great, Yousaf. So we talked about Canada, but of course your office is in Toronto. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you focus a lot on the Toronto market.
Yes.
So compared with, let's say, other cities and looking at zooming in on Toronto, what can you see in terms of developments, trends? What is happening there?
So right now, there's a lot of developments happening in Toronto right now, and I'll talk specifically because we got 4 offices in Toronto. Our head office is in North York, which is close to downtown Toronto, and then we got office in Markham, Cambridge, and Oakville, and I'll tell you more details about those offices.
Yes.
So right now, in terms of the development, the projects which is getting launched. So one thing is there right now, Taco, to think about is that the city laws are a bit different on that. Any project, especially if a high-rise project, it takes about 4 to 5 years for that project to build up as well on that, right? Yeah. If I talk specifically about the Toronto market, the supply and demand, as of current right now on that, there was a wave which came in the middle. All of a sudden, people have been waiting to see how the interest rate is acting on it. So very interestingly, when the interest rates are not going down, but they're still stable, they're not going up either, that just shows the buyers in the market are active.
Yes.
So as soon as the first couple of times interest rates did not go up on that, we started seeing right away on that, if the buyers started getting more active in the market on that. So in terms of the development, first of all, right now that, the Toronto by itself is getting populated. Right now on that, obviously because there's not enough land, there's a lot of rebuild which is coming along on that. Our team specializes and they work with all the developers on that. We want to mention a few of them over here on that, and which, it's very important as well, by the way, for the people who are listening to us on that. You need to work with a reputable developer because the cost of construction has really gone up over the years on that. Yeah. And you want to make sure that whatever you bought now or before, the developer is able to give you that end product at the same time as well. You don't want to be working with a developer who will not be able to deliver on that. That's the reason some of the developers I want to really mention is about Tridel, for example. That is one of the top developers there. They've been in business for over 80 years. They have done over 9,000 units. Wow. People like these, you can't go wrong with them on that, right? And I'm talking about few more, Metropia, Fusion Homes, Reed's Heritage Homes. These are the people who have been in business for the last 25, 30, 40, 45 years on that. you are looking at the end product, which is again a very nice end product. They promise and they deliver at the same time on that. So those are the things. Now, apart from that, within Ontario, Toronto, the other neighboring cities, which is Gulf, which is about like 70 kilometers away from the airport on that.
Yeah.
Niagara Falls, everybody knows about Niagara Falls on that. Huge development is happening in Niagara Falls.
Okay.
The work from home concept for the people after COVID, you know, especially if you know that you're working in a hybrid model where you don't have to be going home and, you know, going to the office and working from home on that side of it. That gives you a really good opportunity for the people to move from the downtown areas or from the core areas to these areas on that.
Great.
Interestingly, a lot of development has happened in these areas as well. For example, in the cities where we were not seeing any mid-rise buildings on that. Now, because of the population increasing, we started seeing that that people moving into those areas as well on that. So overall, if I talk about the Toronto real estate by itself on that, interestingly, since the time, every year we are seeing the prices going up on it. Every month to month, we do a comparison between last year, say about 2023, you know, May, June, July, January, February, March on that, and we do an year-to-year comparison on that, even in those kind of states as well on that. The number of days and the pricing has gone up on that. Now, another interesting thing is that why number of days is so faster on that. Again, supply and demand. If there's not supply, there's a lot of huge demand on that. You see that increase.
And it's so interesting and great to see how they just try to keep expanding on the land, you know, the shortage of land, creative, you know, reusing of land is very interesting. Now, I just quickly want to jump to like, okay, so you're in Toronto. I mean, the great story is like you yourself are an immigrant, went there, invested there, set up shop there. Now you're running this amazing IQI office. You're talking about your team, which is very inspiring, doing an amazing job. But then you're talking about these developers, you know, 80-year-old developers, and then, you know, Yousaf comes in and he has to get his foot in the door, right? And I just want to hear, you know, a little bit just quickly your story. How did you get it done, right? You got in, people know you now, you got IQI Canada up and running. Just a little bit like, what did it take? How did you set it up, and where do we go on from here?
Well, let me tell you one thing. It's always never easy to do that, but then what really makes a difference is the mindset and the people you have behind you on that. Now, I say this every time to my team and everybody else as well, is that if it was not IQI Global, I will not open up a brokerage on that, because you got tens and thousands of brokerages over there on that. Everybody is promising, not delivering. So one thing we want to make sure that we deliver. We don't want to just make promises on that. So journey with IQI started since 2015 on that. You know, then we put up an office, first office in 2018 on that. I must say that, you know, our head office, our partners, you know, the kind of support they have provided, the kind of culture they have provided to us on that, we've been able to transform that into our agents on that. But then, yeah, journey has been tough because, you know, just stepping up into the North American market and letting people know what IQI Global is there and how to set up that culture in the people's mind is something which took us a little bit time to do that on that. But I'll tell you what, we are very fortunate, very blessed as well from the support which we get from our head office. And the good thing is the availability of the people. So one thing which I did when we started IQI was to find some similar mindset of the people as well. I can very confidently say right now, my strategic team or the management team which we have right now on that includes a lot of our VPs, Bob, Salman, Joseph, Benjamin, Ray, you know, many, and these are the people who are the like-minded people there on that. Which we believe in giving more than taking on that, right? And that was the first thing for me to do, is to come up with that team by itself on that. Because I always believe in that, yes, I may have initiated this process, but wherever IQI Canada today is because of the like-minded team members which we've got on that. And, you know, with those team members, obviously we started attracting our agents as well. Our retention rate for the agents is amazing, because, and even ever a new agent want to join us, you know what I tell them? I said, don't talk to me. talk to my team members.
Yeah.
Let them decide and tell you, do you want to be a part of IQI or not on that?
Yeah.
Because our agents who join us, we don't bind them under huge contracts on that. The reason is that, Taco, if you're not happy, you don't want to be a part of that company.
Yes.
Why tie up somebody for something on that? Number one. Second thing is that the technology platform which IQI Global right now and IQI Canada is providing to the agents are paying huge amount of money to get that platform on that, and which we are able to do it. Why we are able to do it? Again, all the support, we are in 23 countries. I'm sure by the time we finish this, there'll be more countries added up on that. 40,000 agents, it's like the best part about it is, because of our time difference, when I get up in the morning and look at my message, oh my God, so we got somebody new joined us on that.
It's good, huh? It's good, huh?
Very exciting.
Always good news.
It's very exciting on that.
Yeah, great. Well, I know you for a little time now. I know you're an extremely ambitious person, right? You like to grow.
Yes.
We talked about the markets.
Yeah.
Opportunities are there. Looking forward right now, right? We just looked backwards, like how did it set up? Now looking forward, what are your plans? You're looking strategically. Obviously, you probably want to expand, but maybe you can fill us in a little bit of, okay, what's going to happen right now with IQI Canada?
Absolutely. So locally, we are expanding into now 4 offices. Very strategically, we have planned those offices right now, covering from East End to West End of almost all of the Ontario on that. So Markham office is there, which is being run by Bob Zhu. Then we have our head office, and then we have a branch in Oakville to look at the west end of it on that. And then we have a branch in Cambridge, which goes all the way looking after Windsor, which just right at the border of US comes along on that. As I was talking to you about Niagara Falls, that's the local office, which is coming up very soon as well on that. But then we know the other big market is Vancouver. So we've been working on the Vancouver side of it on that. Very soon you will hear an IQI Vancouver coming up on that. The other place is also Edmonton, which is Calgary on that. Alberta is the state, Edmonton and Calgary. Calgary is also where you right now, there's not much in terms of the appreciation, but the rental values are really good on that. The price per unit per square feet is really good as well, because the developments are still happening in that area. So that's where we are right now, by the way, licensed to sell real estate in all of Canada. So especially when it comes to the projects still of the pre-construction, just to let the people know, it doesn't limit us to be just in Ontario. We can do it anywhere and everywhere. For example, we are selling Calgary projects. We are selling Vancouver projects right now on that. Plus Ontario as well on that. So that does not limit to us on that. So yes, our expansion plan is to be in these places. So interestingly, last year and a half, 2 years, we made a very good foundation for our team members. We got different divisions, pre-construction, we got the resale, and then we got the commercial division as well at the same time. Very important to have different fields with different people and different things going on. Because when your client is coming to you, you want to become a one-stop shop. And you want to make sure you cater to all their needs.
Fantastic. Wow. Very ambitious plans, big things coming, right? And at the same time, also, this is, of course, because of the strength, like you said, that you're building there, you as a leader. As many of our followers are agents, people in the market, they are, trying to succeed. You have seen, the difference, let's put it this way, in a successful person in real estate and somebody that is struggling, right? So what I think would be nice is maybe you can, give us some ideas from your side. What do you think does it take to become successful in real estate? What have you seen in your markets or maybe globally that you say, well, this is a common pattern or a common thing that successful people in real estate have, together, and that's why they succeed? What are your thoughts on that?
Number one thing is the mindset. You need to, whenever you get into any business, when it comes to real estate as well, you need to have that open and progressive mindset on that, number one. Second thing is the consistency, follow up. I was looking at one of your videos as well, how important it is to follow up on that. Third thing is that I always tell my team and all the other agents as well, just don't expect that every deal, it's your own business, right? So when you're running your own business, you need to invest in yourself. You need to invest in your people as well. You need to invest in your clients as well. So not necessarily that every deal will get you money. Sometimes you got to just do the service on that. Very interestingly, I was just telling somebody that one of the clients which I got about 10 years ago, he came to me he was referred to me by a friend. He was a doctor. He said, I would get a rental property. I said, sure, let me help you with the rental property. Help me with the rental property on that. All the agents know they don't make much commission on the rental, but that's fine. But then he really loved the service. Next thing I know, a couple of months later, he brings me another doctor friend of his. And he comes in there and he said, you know what, I'm looking for a property to buy for my daughter. So I said, okay, when's the daughter coming? She says, she's coming after 6 months. A lot of time agents will think, oh, maybe he's not serious, things like that. I said, all right, let's go ahead and look at some of the properties. So I took him around, showed him the properties, and as anybody would expect, they would not buy, they're just good looking at it. I said, absolutely fine. It's all about building a relationship. It's all about giving up service on that.
Yes.
As soon as we came back, he said, oh, I like that property. Can you put an offer in right now on that? I said, oh, you want to do that? I said, your daughter's coming 6 months. I said, that's fine. We're going to start renting it right now and then when she comes in on that. And that, I'm just giving an example, and that leads you to a lot of more doors as well on that. So for realtors, I always say that please have a positive mindset, open mindset, If you don't make money on the deal or you're doing a service we are in the service industry at the end of the day. So please make sure that you provide the right service, and most of the business will come through the referral part of it on that. If you're not able to provide that service to your clients, you will not be able to see the repeat business on that. So mindset, very important.
Mindset, wow. I mean, Yousaf, I still have a gazillion questions, but we will come to that in the future. We'll be working a lot together. I have just 2 final quick ones, right, before we end this great motivation session. First, if people want to find you, where can they find you? What's the best way? I want to talk to Yousaf. How can they reach you? So we are very active on social media, number one. So if you're not there, follow us at IQI Canada, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it is Instagram, whether it's on Facebook. You will be able to see all our team members because you will be able to see us on that. You will see us doing some crazy dances on our Terrific Tuesday. That's us, by the way. Whenever you guys look at it, people are asking, what do you guys do? You guys sell real estate? So we sell real estate, we do training, we make sure the culture is there on that. So they can reach us on that. And again, my contact information is always there. You can find me on LinkedIn, everywhere on that. Just Google Yousaf Iqbal, you will see that. Put IQI Canada, you will be able to see that on that. But they can contact me anytime. Any of my team members as well, as a matter of fact on that. Another thing is that, Taco, the current team which I've got, I can tell you confidently, it's the same mindset of the people right now on that. When you call them up, they will go and make sure that you get the best service from them. I'm not talking about the sale. Sale, anybody can do it. It's important part is the service. If you don't do the service to your client, you don't provide the service on it, then the sale gets away on that. Fantastic. And then a final question, and so now people know where to find you, right? But let's give a final gift to the world, right? So I was thinking of what I could ask as a last question, and then I came up with, imagine this, right? You know how you get these notifications on your phone, right? Like a notification and then there's something there. So imagine this. Let's say I give you the power to send a notification to every person in the world, and you can write one sentence there. Right? You can just say one sentence and that is your message to the world. What would be that notification?
Life is short. Enjoy yourself. We always keep worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow. And while we are worrying about tomorrow, we do not enjoy what is available for us today. If you look around yourself, you will go to start feeling really blessed. Just getting up in the morning by itself is a huge blessing. Going to work is a huge blessing. Talking to friends, meeting up people is a huge blessing on that. So count on your blessings, what you already have, rather than, a lot of time we start thinking like, oh, I wish I had this. It's good to be ambitious. It's good to have dreams. It's good to have plans on that. But at the same time, just be thankful of what you got here on that. And also, I always look at myself. I look back myself in 10 years ago. I look back myself a year ago. And I cannot be more thankful for the blessing which I've got.
Fantastic.
Always be there.
Well, Yousaf, thank you so much for being here, for being an inspiration, for being a motivator, for being the country head for IQI Canada. We want to wish you all the best. And I hope to see you soon again on the next episode with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for listening to this episode at the Taco Goes Global. And we are so excited. Like I said, Yousaf was here, and we're looking forward to see you or hear you again on our next episode. Till then, see you next time. Bye-bye.